Atmosfear by Nobody. Chapter 1. Into the Doom. This trip is off to a really bad start. Right now, I'm sitting in an airplane headed to the Republic of Guinea in West Africa. When searching for news about the country online, I come across headlines like these. Blood flows in the capital of Guinea. Large protests lead to indiscriminate violence throughout the nation. And my personal favorite, foreign travelers are advised not to enter the country. Well, it's a bit too late to turn back now, as my plane is due to land in Guinea in approximately 12 hours. Apparently, what had started the whole mess over there was politics, of course. The country's president, Alpha Condé, had previously announced that he was going to have another term in office, though he'd already exceeded the constitutional limit. Not surprisingly, some Guineans are not happy with such a bold-faced breach of law and have taken to the streets in order to protest. And what does the president do in return? He sends the army in to shoot people down in broad daylight. Locally uploaded YouTube videos show how these proud patriots are opening fire on women and children alike as if it were some twisted Hollywood spectacle. Though this is not a movie, unfortunately, but the present moment in a country where I'm currently traveling to with an acoustic guitar and a laptop. Why am I doing this, you might ask? Well, I have been invited there by my friend Mohammed Bangura in order to record a world music album with the help of local artists. Mohammed is a Guinean griot, an oral historian who has the duty to preserve traditional stories in the form of song and dance. After receiving this invitation, I decided I needed a break from the soul-rending polar nights of Finland, the country that I have the misfortune of calling my home. Mohammed and I had already played together in a band in Finland for a couple of years. But we both knew that if I really wanted to know how to play mandeng, the unique musical style of West Africa, I should get my boots on the ground. Thirsting for warm temperatures, exotic foods, and sunlight, I jumped at the chance. It would also be my first visit to sub-Saharan Africa, the birthplace of art, as well as our entire species itself. But when reserving the flight tickets, I hadn't expected to be landing in the middle of a brewing civil war. Being born and raised Finnish, I have never witnessed tyranny. Our current president is famously liked because he is the polar opposite of the strong man. President Niinistö keeps his mouth shut most of the time and lets the government run the circus. Also, he has never gotten scores of people murdered in a football field with machine guns, like they say President Condé did a few years back. Finland already had a dictator wannabe during the 70s and 80s who ran through so many terms that it was hard to keep track of them. The Soviets liked his servility, and through their pressure, nobody dared to challenge the man. But then again, nobody was killed either for standing up to him, or even thrown in jail. Finally, the demented old crank realized that his time was finished, along with the whole failed fairy tale of the USSR, and he let himself be carted off to a retirement home, instead of clinging madly to power until his last breath, like Mr. Conde seems to be doing. This is not an unusual scenario for newborn countries that are struggling under the suzerainty of a more powerful nation. Finland got its independence from Russia in 1917. Guinea got its own from France only in 1958. And what is even worse, Guinea is remarkably rich in natural resources, especially those precious metals that the entire world today uses to run their electric batteries. By European standards, any nation that has such immense wealth should be prospering in its standard of living, education, and every other aspect. But this is not Europe we're talking about. Colonialism is not dead here, even after centuries have passed since it first started. Now, it only has a different mask and operates through a globalized system, all seemingly legal and upright by its face value. But when there is such explicit inequality, corruption, and favoritism, a counter-reaction is bound to happen. The age of internet has opened people's eyes to the reality of their situation, and now they demand a change. The status quo will resist this to its last breath, even if it means murder on a mass scale. Citizen against citizen, mega corporation sponsored genocide, capitalism at its most rogue and Machiavellian. There are underlying powerful international interests which aim to make sure that the third world countries will always remain in the mire where they currently are. The price of human life still means nothing to these bastards. The spirit of King Leopold, the butcher of Congo, is alive and well. Needless to say, I'm feeling pretty nervous to see what it's going to be like down there. My partner promised to meet me at the airport of Conakry, the nation's capital, upon my arrival, but the man has a talent for screwing up dates, times, and places better than anyone I know. I'm counting on him to make sure I don't get annihilated while trying to finish this album with him.